or listened to it on the various platforms. I hope you enjoyed it. We really appreciate Alex Rodriguez and Mark Laurie from the Timberwolves and Nick Nurse from the 76ers for joining us, and the Corsi Machine, Kevin Pelton. And there was some business that was done over the weekend, pretty significant business for the league. Summer league, there's a lot of young guys playing. There's some interesting storylines and those develop, but there was big business done over the weekend. The Oklahoma City Thunder officially signed both J-Dub, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. I think Holmgren actually signing took place on Sunday to brand new maximum contract extensions. And with the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander extension that took place, I think he signed it last week sometime too. But over those 7 days, they locked in their championship core for the next 5 years. The contracts have no opt-outs, which is obviously something that the Thunder wanted. And they're going to be expensive. There's no doubt about that. Shai signed what was the largest contract on average annual value in NBA history until Devin Booker officially signs his contract, but it's going to be over $70 million a year in value. And Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams both got max contracts, 25% max, the quote unquote fun max that is not so fun in the new CBA with the second apron. So Bontemps, they're going to be an expensive team. That's the reality. But a couple of things here. One, the Thunder are not going to be paying them that big money this upcoming season. Holmgren and Williams remain in their current, rookie scale contracts. So not only will the Thunder not have any sort of money crunch as they try to defend, but even they probably won't even pay the luxury tax, I don't even think, yet again. So they have a potential to compete for their championship without paying the luxury tax. And because they haven't paid the luxury tax, they haven't even started their repeater clock yet. So Bontemps, while this is definitely going to bite into them, and this is what the new CBA is designed to keep a team like this from being able to stay together for the long term, this is really good news for the Thunder to have these guys all under contracts with no player options.
Yeah, I mean, having three under, I guess Shai's is over 25, but under, 26 and under star level players under contract for the rest of the decade is a pretty awesome place to be. And yeah, like they're going to have some real decisions to make going forward. After this season, we'll see what is Hartenstein's future is in OKC, what Dort's future is in OKC, what a case eventually what a case in Wallace extension is going to look like in OKC. Whether they're not going to be able to keep everybody on this team, but you look to try to find guys like Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. They all showed that they could be part of a team that can win a title, obviously, over the last couple of months. And, as MacMahon has talked about a bunch, Chet Holmgren spent most of last season either injured or recovering from being injured and never really was at full strength. And before he got hurt, he was looking like he was probably their second best player. And that's on a team where Jalen Williams was a deserving All-NBA player, had a 40-piece in the finals, and did all that while dealing with a wrist injury throughout the playoffs himself. So, we've spent the last, year at least talking about how great a situation the Thunder are in, and getting these guys locked up is just one of many reasons why that's the case. And I suspect they're going to be able to weather the financial storm coming pretty well too.
And Dub did get Supermax eligibility in his contract, and I like his odds. He was All-NBA this year. Certainly did a lot to boost his reputation during that playoff run, and would think he's going to have a good shot at being All-NBA again next year, especially with some of the other All-NBA candidates. Unfortunately, not going to be able to play next season. But you hit the two guys who are going to kind of be the first pressure points as far as like the long-term financial picture of the Thunder. And, it's Lou Dort, who I believe, is that a team or a player option for Lou in the last year of his deal?
It is a player option.
It's a player option. So
team option for both he and
club option. You're right. Team
okay,
option.
That's what I thought. Okay, so Lou Dort, club option at $17.7 million for 26-27, and then Isaiah Hartenstein at $28.5 million. But again, we'll see what happens there. But the point is, they're making their difficult decisions will start at, the fourth, fifth, sixth spots on the roster, not first, second, third. They've got those three guys locked up long term. And then, Sam Presti's done a great job of using some of his first round picks already. He's got just a bundle of those things to come. But you look at Cason Wallace. Now, I think Cason Wallace is going to be positioned for a pretty nice contract himself, but he is a potential Lou Dort replacement if it doesn't work out to where Lou will be there long term. And I don't think it's out of the question that Lou could end up being there for years to come. Same thing with Hartenstein. They just drafted this big guy out of Georgetown, Thomas Sorber, who, long arm, shot blocker, nice passer, very Hartenstein-esque type of player. We'll see if after his rookie season he's a rotation candidate or not. But that the whole point of Presti having so many picks and continuing to kind of push those picks into the future is to be able to manage the payroll when some of these tough decisions come up. And he's got so many swings at it that they can afford to lose some rotation players and still be able to put a championship caliber supporting cast around their 3 stars.
Yeah, so let me go over the raw math. So this upcoming season, 25-26, Shai, Holmgren, and J-Dub are going to cost about $59 million between the 3 of them put together. $59 million. All right. That is, the value of that is insane. So that's what so next year, 26-27, when Chet and J-Dub's new money come on, the 3 of them are going to cost about $120 million. That is still, for 3-star players, very, very good. For example, in that same year, Tatum and Jalen Brown are going to cost a little bit less than that. Two studs, but 3 versus 2. Then and by the way, in 26-27, the sort of the first big cash year for all 3 of them, Holmgren and J-Dub are actually going to be making more than SGA slightly, because that's going to be the last year of SGA's legacy contract, the last year of the Fund Max. So that's actually amazing. Then the Supermax kicks in and he gets a $20 million raise. And in 27-28, the 3 of them combined will earn $150 million. So that's where, that's where the tough choices come in either way. And they will be in trouble, not trouble, but they will have challenges about re-signing guys between now and then, the role players, but still the next 2 years, they're still at discounts. So they can compete, for championships with these 3 guys and probably still be able to outfit the rest of the roster for the next 2 years. This is the thing that happened, Bontemps, with the Celtics. The Celtics, as they were signing these guys to big numbers, they still saw themselves having a window before they got squeezed. And in year 2 of that sort of 3-year window, they won the title. In year 3 of the window, unfortunately, Tatum got hurt. But they had a team, a 60-win team, that was favored to win the championship, and then things went sideways on them. But that's where the Thunder, before the Thunder sort of have the pressures that the Celtics just had, they will still have 2 more seasons. And what the Celtics didn't have that the Thunder are going to get, as you guys mentioned, are other teams' draft picks between now and then. They've already got other teams' draft picks. The Celtics were drafting guys in the late 20s, the Baylor Shiremans of the world, whereas the Thunder are bringing in lottery guys. They've got 2 lottery picks in this year's, will be rookies this year, who have yet to play. Maybe neither of them will work out. I don't know, but that's where they're different. So while it is definitely a challenge, this is something to celebrate, and no team could possibly be more ready for this than the Thunder. Maybe they won't win the next 2 years. There's a lot of different variables that you can't predict, but they are very well positioned. And this year alone, in 2 years, when Shai's salary kicks in, when the new Supermax he just signed actually kicks in, he's going to be making $60 million, earned every dime. This year, the 3 of them will earn 59.5.
Well, and
it's amazing.
Think about the profit they're going to be making, right?
Well, that's
as a team not paying luxury tax. So you're getting luxury tax payments, and they just had, I don't know how many of the, I think it was 12 of 23 playoff games or home games, something like that. A ton of home playoff gates. I would anticipate they'll get a lot of home playoff gates. next season as well. And then what happens in 2028? They're opening up a new arena. You think there's going to be some revenue generated from that new arena that is costing Clay Bennett, the Thunder owner, a grand total of $50 million? I mean, he's paying less for the arena than he's going to be paying SGA's salary.
That's true.
It was also interesting on this topic. It flew under the radar during the finals, but Barry Trammell, our friend from the Tulsa World, had a story. I believe it either ran right after the finals or during them that insinuated that, not even insinuated, had sources telling him that sometime in the somewhat near future, the Thunder will be sold, which in concert with how fast the teams, how fast the valuations of teams around the league are going up. It also would be reminiscent somewhat of what happened with the Celtics, who had a very expensive team and sold the team as it was getting very expensive, and as hard decisions are going to have to be made about payroll and potentially losing guys off teams that's a championship level team. Now, he did not say the Thunder are going to be sold today or tomorrow, but they have been a remarkably stable organization the entire time they've been in Oklahoma City, with Clay Bennett essentially handing the keys to Sam Presti and saying, do your thing, and I'm not going to get in the way. And that will be very interesting if that does come to pass, both the timing of when it happens and also who takes over, because, they have been in many ways a model franchise for their tenure in Oklahoma City. And we've seen a lot of new owners have a lot of impacts, a lot of places, and it's just something that bears watching.
A little new owner syndrome.
We've seen it a time or two.
I would hope there's not a new owner syndrome situation if you've got a potential dynasty on your hands. I would hope you maybe would trust the guy who's built that and has positioned it to be an extended window.
Well, I will say this:
just let him work.
Bontemps does bring something interesting up. Out of everything that we just discussed, I would say everything is all green lights for the Thunder, despite, the things that we know. There's a reason, but Bontemps wrote a story at the end of the season about how the Thunder are in position, the better team, is as good as team as we've seen, to buck the trend of 7 consecutive different champions. That, in a largely dynasty-proof league, Bontemps laid out, as some of the stuff we just did here, why the Thunder might be able to overcome that trend. And we just said with all the money, they should be able to afford it and be okay. That report that Barry Trammell put out, and to my knowledge, nobody disputed that. At least I didn't see a dispute. But the quote he used is that quite likely they'll consider selling the franchise in the next few years, or the near future, I should say. That was probably more relevant than any of the other stuff that happened with the sales, because you just don't know what would happen. And the Thunder, Clay Bennett is the Thunder's governor, but the Thunder are owned. I think there's 3 businessmen that own roughly the same percentage. They all own the same percentage. Clay Bennett has the control share, but there's other things at stake, and all of them are over the age of 65. And in the case of the Celtics, in addition to how expensive they were going to be, one of the driving principles for the reason that the Celtics are being sold is that Irving Grusbach, who is the controlling owner, he owns the largest share. His son, Wick, is the governor, is 90 years old, and he's doing estate planning. And he also knew that with the new media rights deal, that franchise values would be very high. So he took a championship team with high franchise values facing estate things, and that's what led to it. But all that is to say, if you're an NBA team and you've been hearing a lot of stuff about second apron stuff, and you may be thinking to yourself, well, that's got to bite the Thunder in the next couple of years. I don't think it's going to. And the reason is, number one, that Sam Presti and his staff have drafted very well so that developed these young players are good before their salaries balloon. And also Sam Presti had 3 years to evaluate how to manage the second apron coming in. And he managed it well, like with the contracts he signed Lou Dort and Isaiah Hartenstein too. So,
well, and other contracts, Hartenstein was highest in year one, then flat the next couple of years. I Isaiah Joe is a descending deal. Aaron Wiggins is a descending deal. Jalen Williams, the center, is highest in year one, then flat. Same with AJ Mitchell, the guard. Like none of this stuff, none of these, concerns are like catching Sam Presti off guard. He's been plotting and planning for years, and these things like maybe it's a little bit more expensive than anticipated because I don't know if as he started plotting and planning, he anticipated Jalen Williams, the wing being
potentially getting a supermax.
Yeah, but pretty good problems to have.
I will say this: Paolo Banchero signed his max contract with the Magic last week, and he was the first player in 3 years to get a player option on a max contract, a rookie scale max contract. And that trend got halted by the Thunder.